Hey, everybody out there in Cryptid Land. Here we are again with our buddy, Patrick Giggy. How you doing, man?
Really good. How are you, Patrick Perry?
Not doing bad at all, man. Not doing bad at all. My name twin. Well, almost half twins. Only other Patrick I know. So what's been going on in your end of the Bigfoot world? What exciting encounters have you had or experiences have you had lately?
What they really like is that song "Play It Again" by Luke Bryan.
Play it again by Luke Bryan.
Yeah, they love that, and I sing it, and then their energy comes through all the time, strong, and just makes me the energy just makes me cry.
So maybe they're sending you bad energy because they don't like your voice.
Nah,
You know?
they love my voice.
Okay. I'm
'Cause-
just I'm just ribbing you.
right, Sue Walker was channeling Okiono, a male that's here, and I asked her how did they like my singing? Because I'd always have when I had the pool deck up there, I'd have concerts and I'd sing songs to off the YouTube, and they'd
Yeah.
all come to the woods and gather around and watch me. I seen them all as a living apparition. Yeah,
So how many different ones so now I know this is a little different for most people, the way you communicate and you see them and stuff. Uh, but they come to you through like what would you call it, mind speak? Because I know a lot of people talk about mind speak. Is that how you would talk, say that's what it is, or how do you perceive it?
I pick up sometimes what mood they're in, like usually happy or love, just through their energy. But
Okay.
I see them telepathic. I seen a really beautiful white one, clear as day, one time.
So
It had a
and
it had a round head too. It didn't have the conical head, like Sue Walker was talking about.
yeah, okay, that's kind of strange. I mean, not strange, but the only time that I thought I had a visual of one, it was I wouldn't call it white. I would have called it like
Blonde.
a light gray, like a light gray towards white,
Uh-huh.
but like a light gray. And um and it had a very like round, because that's all I saw. And it was like
Yeah.
there and then gone. And then I saw like what to me looked like hair flowing in the wind when
Oh,
it
that's cool.
disappeared. And I wasn't sure if I saw something or not, but I thought I did. I was with the guy that does Sasquatch theory, Miguel,
Hmm.
um, and he said he's actually seen. Well, he didn't see it when I saw it, but I explained it to him. He's like, "Oh, well, I've seen one in this area like that," and that's how he described the head, like really big and round, like basketball, like. So, so when you say it had a round head, was it like how big of a head? Could you really tell?
In between a basketball and a softball.
So like a volleyball.
Yeah, probably a volleyball. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So, and how many of these Bigfoot do you see? Is it always the same ones? Is it different ones? How's that work?
Yeah, they're probably the same ones all the time, because they live right around here. So I see them as soon as I go out the door and it's dark out. I see them as the living apparitions or shadow figures, and their eyes just automatically light up, acknowledge me. Like mostly red, I'll see. Once in a great while, I'll see green. I see a lot of blue.
So, like, you talking about eyes, or you talking about orbs?
Their eyes.
Eyes. Okay. So I just talked to a guy a little bit ago, and he was telling me about, he didn't call them orbs. He thought they were fey, um, but he said they were little tiny lights. But he said they weren't fireflies. He said there was about, I think he said there was about 15 of them. and they're like moving around and stuff. And they're only like 3-4 foot away from him. So he said he could see those, because I was going to ask him at one point, I thought he might have been seeing eyes, uh, because he said they were kind of like an orangish red. So do you ever, have you ever experienced a light or anything that small? Because I imagine when you see the eyes, that's about the size they are, I would think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the first year I experienced that, but it was on the ground. They just lit up on the ground here and there. It wasn't a fly. I know it was them. And I brought two guys from their elders from the Church of Jesus Christ over. Those are the two people I ever had come over to my house, and they're into Jesus and all that. So I thought they'd be spiritual enough to handle the Sasquatch. And I told them about it, and I said, "Hey, come on over," and they seen that on the ground. Then I looked up at the tree and I seen a juvenile standing in the branches. I said, "Hey, there's one right there above us." They both looked up and they said, "Oh wow, you got a good eye, Pat." And his eyes were shining like the biggest tennis balls.
Yeah. Oh, so when his eyes were shining, they were as big as tennis balls?
Oh yeah, he was lit up.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard a lot. Most of the when people describe them, most of the time they do say their eyes are really large. Um, so I mean, I guess that would make a lot of sense. So you guys actually saw one. What did it do when you guys saw it?
It just faded back out and then it come right back. Oh, you mean the one in the tree? Yeah,
Yeah.
it just I don't know. We just went on our way and walked up through the woods and back in my yard.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just didn't really disturb it or mess with it. Just let it
Nah,
be.
man. I was really surprised. I was shocked because they came out, because usually I don't think they would do that, because they don't want to scare nobody. But
Yeah.
what they do is they check your heart space. That's how they monitor you and feel you out and know what you are capable of experiencing.
So you think maybe it happened because it was you said it was a younger one, and maybe it just didn't have
Yeah.
quite the ability to say, "No, I shouldn't do this," and
Right.
I'm way more curious than Dad.
Yeah, well, these guys are elders and they're messengers of Jesus, So of course they're not going to be afraid and all that.
Are you talking about the two guys you took out there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
in the woods of my back. They're from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints.
okay, and
I
they
got two
didn't
girls
like
coming over here now. I'm talking to them about it now.
about talking about what, the Sasquatch?
Sasquatch, Sasquatch,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay. So they didn't like call you crazy
No,
and threaten to stick you on a pike or something? No?
no, because I'm sure they get belittled too because they're talking about Jesus and all that, and some people probably think people are crazy that even talk like that. A lot of people don't believe in Jesus or God.
Well, I believe in Jesus and God, but I
Yeah.
would tend to think there's a lot more people don't believe in Bigfoot. But then again, you
Well,
know,
I was always a believer because come on, I'm not that person. Oh, I got to see it to believe it. There's hundreds and hundreds of sightings. You can't call all these people crazy.
no, that's 100%. I mean,
I think
and go
the
ahead.
best evidence is the sightings.
I'm pretty stoked about the film though, the Patty film. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
that's authentic too.
yeah,
That's what Kelly said.
that's gotta be authentic. I don't see anything fake about that thing. And
Yeah,
it almost, I don't know, it's probably the wrong emotion, but it almost angers me when I hear people say it's a guy in a suit.
yeah. Did
It's
you have
like,
Jeff Meldrum on?
what's that now?
Did you have Jeff Meldrum
No, I
as
would
a
love
guest?
to have him on. No,
Oh, yeah, I thought you did. Hmm.
no, I've got a buddy of mine who knows him, so I'm trying to work my way into getting them on. There's two that I'd really love to get on, and I've got like a third party in on them if things work right. And that's Les Stroud and Meldrum. I would love to have them guys on, but
Hmm.
I think Meldrum might be at Beachfoot. I'm not 100% sure. But I know there's some big names going to Beachfoot. I'm really looking forward to that. I got invited to it this year, so I'm gonna go. Um, but yeah, I'd love to talk to Meldrum and bounce it around. But he is so scientific, though. I don't know if I could keep up with him.
Hmm.
He
You should
really
be on.
knows his stuff.
You got enough experience where you can go on as a guest on the Cosmic Disclosure, right? Remember that one I sent you? That
Oh
link?
yeah, 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 man. I'd be willing to go on anybody's show if they want me to.
Yeah.
I've been doing a few of them here lately. Just
So you
mainly
like
trying
that?
to.
You
Go
like
ahead.
that show or the story I told you about Travis Walton?
Yeah, refresh my memory again. Travis Walton was that the fire in the sky guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay,
thought they were
refresh.
bad EMTs too until I was watching Sue Walker doing an interview one time, and she started talking about Travis Walton, and she said the Ponte were the ones that were in that ship, and they had a malfunction of their ship, and they felt responsible what happened to Travis because their ship zapped him, and he
Yeah.
fell backwards, and he literally broke his neck and died, and they brought him back somehow. I don't know how, but they did.
Huh. Very cool. Well, speaking of that, the lady that I interviewed last week, because I was talking to my producer Dirty about this. I'm like, most of the people I've had on so far that talk about the aliens and have been abducted or whatever, they all seem to have a peaceful um, vision or what's the word I'm looking for? Um, they're the way they think of the aliens, the best way to put it, is that they're our friends. They're friendly beings. They're not here to harm us. They're trying to give us information, um, which, personally, that's the way I hope it is. But the lady I just talked to last week has she's an abductee, but she has a completely different thought about it. She don't think they're so nice.
Okay,
So
she ran into some bad ones, yeah.
yeah, and from her encounters, it didn't sound like they hurt her, but she's just not real fond of being taken. Let's just say
Mhm.
she don't see it as a positive thing. So,
Yeah, they took some of her eggs or something. Maybe have more than one egg or something.
well, and that's
Or-
something we didn't get into, but she did say she met a hybrid on the one, but we didn't get into that part of her story. I was gonna have her back on so she could talk
All right.
about that. She's written books about it. So, she's working on second book and trying to turn the first book and second book into like a trilogy, one, two, three. So, um, anyways, back to Bigfoot. Come on. So, what
Yeah.
else you been doing? You been doing any investigating or getting out in the field? What else you been experiencing out there?
Oh, I just started back to work. I work two jobs, so it's kind of. But this weekend, I'm gonna definitely go in the forest because that's what I keep hearing about the channeling. You have to go to the forest to deal with these energies that are coming in from the sun because we're getting all downloads from the sun. They're called light codes. People are not even conscious of that. And they're activating our DNA, like the DNA they call junk DNA. That's not junk. That's that's your heritage from your ancestor. Your
What do you mean
each,
junk DNA? I'm not hip on that. What do you mean junk DNA?
there's DNA strands that the scientists never could figure out what was in our bodies, so they called it junk DNA. But if
Okay.
that gets activated, you start getting your gifts, your psychic abilities, and be more clairvoyant. And
So something from the sun or the sun itself is
yeah, from the
supposed to
sun
act.
itself, and They're light codes.
Light codes.
Yeah, they're codes.
Okay. Okay.
So the
So
codes, I'm thinking they're probably, smarten you up, maybe,
uh,
educate you,
it's
activate
it's
you, probably activate you.
oh, well, see, and the last guy I interviewed, we had a discussion about kind of like this too, because I always considered it as if we actually do have the ability to do these things like the Bigfoot, like mind speed, um,
Hmm.
possibly know where portals are, be able to utilize them. Um,
Hmm.
um, just I mean, there's just so many strange things that Bigfoot seem to be able to do that we can't do. But I think in our minds, we at one time we were able to do it. And I
Hmm.
think over time, our mind has been the muddied or blocked off of the things we can
Yeah,
do because we
yeah,
we we put so much junk in our systems nowadays, and not
yeah,
just like the food and chemicals and things like that, but you know not when I say knowledge, I'm not talking about good knowledge. There's junk knowledge out there, just like you call junk DNA. There's junk
yeah.
knowledge out there that
Yeah.
I think a lot of that clouds our minds. But so my question to you is, do you think at one point in time we had these abilities and they got shut down and now we might have the ability to get them back? Or do you think this is something that's never been activated before and now's the time?
Yeah, yeah, that's going to get activated, and now's the time to do it. They call it the ascension. That's what the whole Earth is ascending to. It's going to 5D, and we're going to go with her. And then if I guess people ain't ready, they probably. I hear a lot of stuff. Everybody's going. Only a certain amount of people are going. I don't understand. Yeah, it's kind of hard to determine what messages to really believe. But I'd like to
I
see
know.
everyone go.
I know. Well, see, that's where my my confusion comes in too, because I hear so many different, angles on things. And of course, I want to believe the stuff that sounds really good
Right.
and not the stuff that sounds really bad, but I just got a feeling it might be somewhere in the middle. I think there's going to be some good and some bad, and that's just the way. Because I mean, honestly, that's normally how life is anyway. So
Hmm.
you when what kind of so you're looking into this, apparently you've done some studying on this. Um, is there any kind of timeline because I know most of the time they say they don't know. Have you talked to anybody that says they do know?
I got. I guess Sue Walker would be the one to really know because she talks to the Ponte, gets information.
So do you talk to the Ponte? Because I know she when I talked to her, she said there's a way to open your mind up to where
Hmm.
you can do things like that. Talk to them. And now you talk to the Bigfoot. Hey, have you ever had any luck trying to connect to
Yeah, I
the
talk to
alien?
them all the time. I just think about what I'm going to say to them, and that's how I do it. I mind speak to them, and they read my mind.
You talking about Sasquatch? I'm talking about the aliens up there. You do that with them
Oh,
too,
oh yeah,
or
yeah. I just talk to the sky, the night sky, and they obviously hear me because I start seeing ships. It's just a star that's moving, and it's way up there.
well, I mean, I'm definitely not going to discount you on that because who was it? Jorgen Hess, I think was the guy I had on here, and he's actually was been on one of these TV shows, and he was recording one, like you said, one of these lights moved across the sky, and he said, what did he say? He asked it. He said, "Will you blink for me to let me know you're there?"
Oh
And
yeah,
it
they'll
blinked.
blink. Yeah.
Yeah, and it blinked for him. and he's
Yeah,
taking
that's
video
cool.
of it while it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, but a little scary too, because that's a little closer to real, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you can't be scared because then you they're not influenced no more to do any more for you now because you're scared. They don't want to scare you.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to read the minds of aliens and Sasquatch. I definitely don't want to read the minds of humans because, that's probably the scariest place to be
Oh
in their
yeah.
head.
Yeah, right. Like that probably wouldn't be good. Like you just walk by a girl and she just said in her mind, geez, he looks awful. That would hurt your feelings.
They tell me that out loud. What do you mean in their
Oh,
head?
did they?
Yeah, get that
Yeah, but
every
that's
day.
all right. You're married and got a woman that's got, she's nuts about you.
Yeah, she thinks I'm nuts.
Oh yeah.
She's starting to warm up to this Bigfoot thing. She got a drinking cup she takes to work. She got plastered up with Bigfoot stuff now. So I'm
Oh,
starting to warm
nice.
her up. Yeah, I'm starting to warm her up to it.
Yeah, that's really good that she's at your side with that and supports you. Mine just ran away.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Hey, maybe you can get you a Bigfoot lady one day.
yeah, yeah.
Shave her down, except for you know.
hmm Well,
So
a lot of the girls that are experiencers, they live in different states. So, I mean, there's one that lives in the Adirondacks, an hour and a half away, but I think she's got a Sasquatch boyfriend.
oh yeah, yeah. So you talking
Yeah,
about the so when you talk to them, you're talking to them. So these are flesh and blood creatures somewhere else.
yeah,
Is
probably in
that?
a different dimension.
Oh, you think they might be in a different dimension too?
Yeah, they're definitely the woo woo, the ones I communicate with.
Woo woo. What do you mean by that? Are you using the Bigfoot world term as in
I'm
woo
using the woo
woo
woo. Yeah, that's how
woo?
people put it. So that's what it is. That's what I
Yeah,
experienced.
I
So
know. That's the word I use all the time too. But I don't
yeah.
really discount. So there's some people out there that are just like, no, woo, no, is nuts, crazy, not listening to it. Me, I actually I want to believe it. I want to believe that's happening.
hmm
Not really happened to me, but I'm not saying it can't. Maybe if I put myself in the right situation and have the right frame of mind, it might. Um,
Right.
and I also, even though it's woo, I believe they're flesh and blood and they can do this. I really think they just have the ability. And just because we can't understand it doesn't mean it's not happening. That's
Right.
typically the way humans think is well, if I can't figure it out, it's bullshit. And I don't believe in that. I think you got to leave your mind open for all of this.
hmm
That's why I like talking to you because I mean, if I think I am equally on the line as far as woo and flesh and blood.
hmm
If I would have to describe you, I'd say you're more on this side of the woo, which is fine. But I like talking to you because you know a lot more about it than I do, and you make me think about things.
Yeah,
You
I've
know,
seen them come into the physical though, and then vanish. I've seen them do that.
you say and vanish, like vanish right in front of you.
Yeah, they
You're
appeared, and I seen it for 2 seconds, and then they were gone.
So where did this occur at?
The first time, just up the road from my driveway, I just backed up. I had two kids in the backyard. My wife was with me then, and she was in the passenger seat. But she must not have seen him. And this individual was really gnarly looking. He looked
Yeah.
like a Shaka Zulu, is what I called him, because he looked like a Zulu warrior. He had a big old bushy, cheeky hair. He was tall and skinny, and he had a tail.
A
And
tail.
he was a nice guy too. He took when they must have took my iPad and they did selfies out there. That iPad's gone now, but they took selfies of themselves. I mean, real up close, and I figured out what they were too was their skin. And then Shaka Zulu, they took a picture of his backside, I can see his back, his shoulders, his tail. I don't know what happened to that picture.
Tail. Now, I've not heard yet. And it was a Sasquatch?
Nah, he had a primate body, but his face was
Yeah.
human. He had a long, narrow face. It was white, and he had his face was so wrinkled and ancient looking. It looked like tree bark.
And it had a tail.
36 inches long at least.
Wow. Okay, that's a first one for me. I've not heard of anything that looked like a Sasquatch with the tail. So that's a first for me. So when you saw it was
Actually, kind of looked like you.
really?
Yeah, it
You want
looks
to
just
see?
like you. A wrinkled face. Wrinkled face.
I'm not going to show you my tail because
Yeah.
it wouldn't allow the video on YouTube if I did. So
Yeah, you probably get checked out.
Yeah. So you saw it basically like in your backyard? Is
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
it was on the side of the road. No,
Oh, side of the road.
Yeah.
Just up the road. And it appeared, and when it, how far away was it?
Maybe 30 yards. He was standing on the side of the road, and he was kind of like this with both hands. This, I'm
Yeah.
looking at him. Then he vanished. I don't think my wife seen him. She probably would have freaked out, but I seen him for like 2 seconds.
And
then I seen him.
Was it out in the open when this happened?
No, it was on the shoulder of the road.
The shoulder of the road? Was there like woods and stuff nearby?
The woods is right behind him.
Right behind him?
Yeah.
So when it disappeared, you sure didn't just like step into the tree line, or did it just go gone?
He just vanished because the tree line wasn't that. Because really, what was behind him was the guy's property, but there was woods behind him. Yeah,
I got you. Huh. Well,
and then I was seeing him. I was laying in bed one time, and all these Sasquatch faces were like coming in, but then they'd bypass me and go past my head. And then they kept going, and then I said Shaka Zulu, and I said, whoa, he came right in, and I seen him, and he looked just like you. He came look at the picture, and he had eyes red. His eyes were glowing red, and they were like piercing looking, like look at. But I wasn't scared, But he's not around here no more. I asked the Sasquatch where he is because I miss him.
Yeah.
I guess he's off planet. He went somewhere else. He's not on Earth no more.
So, all right. Now that we're talking about Bigfoot's going to different dimensions and different planets and stuff, are all? Obviously we don't know the answer, the textbook answer, but we can speculate, we can think, and we can wonder. And this is why I want to ask you, because you are more on the woo side. Are all Sasquatch, in your opinion, travelers between dimensions and planets and things like that? Or are there some that are strictly flesh and blood here on Earth, nothing really spectacular?
Yeah, they're both. Actually, there's this guy, Mike Bodowitz, said some Sasquatch prefer to live as a flesh and blood being, so they're not even interdimensional. They don't live as long. And I think that's those tribes. I think a lot of them tribes are not that great because I guess they're a lot more violent. They don't want nothing to do with us. So I heard those Sasquatch, you don't want to be messing around with them. And they live probably like 10 miles into the woods.
10 miles into the woods?
Yeah, I was watching this one show. It's the podcast Talk About Strange. Did you see that channel?
No. Talk About Strange, huh? That sounds
that's
interesting.
the guy's YouTube. Yeah, YouTube channel. He interviews some girls that had they had the Sasquatch sexually assaulted them, and they end up getting pregnant. And then there's a whole story behind that. I'll just let everyone go watch the channel, and I don't want to ruin the fun, But it was great that they came through and talked about stuff like that.
Man, you're just gonna leave us hanging like that.
Yeah.
What a jerk. good, good thing we're buddies, Patrick.
Yeah.
So,
Also, the Sasquatch and Ponte, they've been traveling, exploring the galaxy for millennia. That's what Sue Walker said.
yeah, I remember her talking that they kind of, so the Sasquatch to go with the aliens, they're not, they're actual Sasquatch. They're not, you know, see, my mind it sometimes has trouble wrapping around everything and figuring out where it all fits in because my mind wants everything to fit.
Yeah.
And I've heard before that are all Sasquatch from Earth, or are all Sasquatch from a different place, or are they're a mixture? What's your opinion on that? I mean, that's kind of
Well,
like the mind thing asked in a different way.
from what I've heard from Kelly, she's the host of the Sasquatch gathering out and she said that the Sasquatch were the first mammals on the planet. And they were seeded here by the star people. That was 200 million years ago.
Okay.
But the Sasquatch been around, Mike Bodowitz said, beyond, you can't even comprehend how long they've been around in existence. I mean, they're probably billions of years old, the Sasquatch. They've been around a long time.
Man, sometimes some of the stuff you say just leaves my mind blank because I don't even know where to
Isn't
go.
that great? Yeah, if I were you, Patrick, I'd go out there in the field and try to, interact with them. Some people like to take and arrange rocks on a deadfall tree and then come back the next day and see if it's got changed, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm actually gonna get a chance to hit the woods this weekend, so I might try a few things. And
Mm-hmm.
plus, I've been talking to a investigator that lives up in Springfield, not far from me, and he's got some interesting ideas on some investigative techniques that he wants to try out that I'm kind of looking forward to. So maybe I'll throw some of your ideas in with that when we go out.
Yeah, I know
So
feathers, they consider feathers sacred, so feathers would be a good gift. Like if you had some turkey feathers, like if you're a turkey hunter and you shot a turkey, like the tail, spread it
yeah,
open and give it to them. They might like stuff like that.
I've
And
always
and
heard
uh,
blue.
and crystals.
Blue. I always heard the color blue.
Oh, they like the color blue.
That's you've not heard that? Did I finally give you something you didn't know?
I know Sue Walker told me Oki Ono's favorite color is pink.
Okay. Well, actually,
Yeah.
I've heard, yeah, not just I don't, and I think it's most animals. See, now I'm gonna make myself look stupid because I don't remember exactly what. But I did hear Bigfoot like blue. They like the color blue. But I heard other animals it's kind of like something. I don't know. I'm just gonna shut up before I make a fool of myself. But Bigfoot like
Mhm.
blue, yes. They like blue. So that's what I've heard. I don't know. So if you want to go out into the woods and get grabbed up by a Bigfoot, wear blue, like you're wearing
I
right
told
there.
I joke with him. I just the other day I told him, "Hey, you guys can abduct me anytime." And then I felt their energy like they were laughing, and then I said, "I'm just kidding."
Yeah. You're lucky to get abducted by a 12-foot tall gay one.
Yeah. So you
Uh,
know what's cool about them too? That I know that they're present. They're around me all the time. I can feel them. So if I'm in the store and I'm just shopping and stuff and say, and I could be talking about what I seen on the shelf. Oh, look at that stuff. That's hot. That'll burn your mouth or something. Whatever. I talk to
yeah.
them. Whatever. I talk to them like I talk to anyone. So that's really cool. And plus, they're in the car with you. You're listening to music. You're singing, and they like the singing. And
They ever tell you to bring something back from the store for them?
No, I think just being with me is happy enough for them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Man, I'd at least be telling you to grab me a Reese's peanut butter cup or something.
yeah. I mean, they're around me right now. They're listening to the conversation. So
Well, do they hate me?
no, they love you.
Oh, okay, good.
They
Good.
like what you're doing, talking about the topic, because it just brings them much closer to humanity, because that's what they're going to do eventually.
Well, I
Because you
mean
got
that's
this big contact event coming up, and they already got the go ahead of the Sasquatch start coming out and probably show themselves in front of trail cameras and whatever.
yeah, well, right there you make a good point because activity and people believing in it and everything is on the rise big time, big time.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah.
and in the sense I get, it is almost like something big is getting ready to happen or get dropped, or we're gonna see it. And I just that and my point of this whole process is, and I know I laugh a lot with you and make and
Yeah.
I try to laugh at them, but I am not making fun at
Right.
all.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I am right there. I want to see this happen. And do I want a cosmic Bigfoot to exist? Hell yeah, that'd be cool as hell. I want that
Hmm.
to exist. Um, I want all this woo stuff to be true. I really do. And some
Yeah.
people might look at me and shake their head and say I'm stupid, but I
Right.
don't care. You know,
Right.
but I hear a lot of other podcast hosts and people that talk about it always say, "Well, I hope it's just flesh and blood." Well, that's not as much fun for one, and for two, I just don't know if they could stay hidden this because I know they're out there, but
Right.
I just don't know that they could have stayed hidden this
Hmm.
long from us if they didn't have something else going on that we just aren't privy to. Because if they were just a monkey or an ape or a gorilla running around in the woods, we'd have found them, by
Well, I'll
now.
tell you, a lot of them I see. I seen one. It was this past October, and I was drinking around the campfire too. I don't drink no more anymore because I'm taking care of myself. But
Hey,
it
good,
was two of them. One was pretty
proud of you,
tall. I didn't see
proud of
his
you,
face.
man.
The other one was short and stocky. I swear his face looked just like the freaking Rock, Dwayne Johnson. That's what his
Oh
face
yeah.
looked like. Yeah, he was handsome. That's thing. Yeah,
Did you ask him out on a date?
no, but
No.
he came in and he was laughing because I was like, "Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?" And I could see, I didn't hear him laugh or nothing, but I could see his face like he was laughing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and you saw these in flesh and blood, physical, right in front of you,
no,
or
like a
or was it a
hologram,
vision, like a vision,
a hologram.
like a hologram? I got you.
Yeah,
So, when you get these holograms, where are these creatures at? Do you know?
it must have came right out of the woods. It was dark out, and I had the campfire going, and they walked
Well,
right
I
up
mean,
to it. They got
well, I
10 feet
mean,
from me.
you say it looks like a hologram though, so I guess you're getting like a vision of it, or
Yeah,
was it
but
like?
I'm seeing it with my two eyes, my own two eyes, not in my head.
Well, no, no, I understand that. I understand that. But if it's kind of like, to me, when you say hologram, I'm thinking like a ghost.
Uh huh.
Is that accurate?
Living
Kind of?
apparition. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because
Okay.
that's what they are really. I guess they're spirits. That's what
Okay.
Kwani Lapsarudi said.
So do you think this is more like just a spirit in front of you and maybe their actual bodies were somewhere else? Or do you think this is how they are all the time? The ones you saw, they
Well, that is a good question because they could be physical elsewhere, and then they could step out of their body and come see you.
yeah, what do they call that when you come
Astro
on, you
travel.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was gonna say, if anybody knows, I know you freaking know. I always forget the words. I talk about so much crap. Sometimes I forget the names of stuff. But yeah, the astral travel.
Mhm.
Maybe that. Hey, and if they got the ability to mind speak and freaking find portals, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that too. Because I believe that's possible. I really think that's possible. People have talked about doing it. If people can do it, ain't no reason why Sasquatch can't. And if they can, I would imagine they'd have a better ability to control it than we do, because they've got more, their mind's more open, and they've got more use, I think is a good word, more use out of their mind than what we get.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
Garrett, they used the trees as portals. There was this one particular tree, and it was a ponderosa pine, and this little kid come down with this whole bag of chips and said the Sasquatch took a hatchet and made all these chips, and he brought it down to the gathering. And Garrett Duncan, my buddy that was supposed to come on tonight with me, he said he thought the kid was making it up, but then he knew the kid was telling the truth when he grabbed the hatchet and he felt the energy from the Sasquatch in the handle.
Huh.
So I got a Ziploc bag of these things, and I use them. And in order to enhance it, I took some thread and wrapped it on my amethyst crystal, and you draw a box, and then you put a circle with a triangle on top, and then you take it and you twist it like a dial, and I put my food or my drink in it, and I leave it there for like 11 minutes. And it seems to change the structure or whatever's not good that's in it. It just diminishes it. So it makes it better for you to eat and drink. I've been doing that. And that's what Garrett told me to do, and I feel pretty good.
Well, good. I'm glad you're feeling good, man.
Yeah.
So this you say a kid? This happened to a kid? A kid went out and got
the kid. The kid brought the bag of chips down and shared it with the adults.
Was it dance time?
That was my ex-wife calling me.
Oh, you're getting a nacho chip joke.
Yeah. I hung up on her. Oh, she's fuming, man.
All right. Well, sounds like people are wanting to talk to you, Patrick.
Garrett Duncan said no go.
Okay. All right. Well, tell them we'll catch them on the next round. Yeah, we've been on here for about 45 now, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to share or talk about or promote before we get off of here?
Yeah, just what Sambo told me, the author of Sasquatch Message to Humanity. In order to connect with the Sasquatch, you speak directly to them. See, when I went into the woods, that's what I did. Even though I couldn't see him, I just spoke directly to him, and I did that for 3 days straight in that same area where I got my first experience. And I was doing dishes one day, and that's how I found out there was a different clan around my house, because there was a perfectly round ball of leaves right there in the trail where it goes down to my down to the woods where I used to hunt.
Yeah.
But when I go out and I look at an angle, it's not round no more. Only in that view, looking at straight on, it was perfectly round. It was really cool.
That's cool. Well, you hear that, everybody out there? Go out in the woods, clear your mind, talk to the Bigfoot.
Open your heart.
Actually, yeah, clear your mind, open your heart. Because honestly, you just said that, and I was planning on trying that this weekend. I really am.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go out and I'm just gonna say hey and see what happens. All right. Well, hey, here. Any Sasquatch that are gonna be in the woods with me tomorrow? Don't fart. Don't eat beans tonight either. All right. There we go.
I'll send some of my buddies.
Okay. Well, yeah, send some out. Yeah, I'll be down in Arkansas. Tell them to come find me in the Ozarks.
All right, Arkansas.
Tell them to come find me in the Ozarks down in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. We'll be good. All right. Thanks for coming on tonight, Patrick.
Hey, no problem.
Looking forward to seeing your Sasquatch buddies tomorrow.
Okay.
So send them my way. Well, thanks for coming on tonight, Patrick, and everybody out there in Cryptid Land. Keep it creepy.
See you, Dirty.
See you, Dirty.
Yeah. Out in the woods where the shadows creep, I'm trying to find the legend that the people keep. Bigfoot's the name, got a story to tell. Footprints in the mud, can't you hear the bell? Whispers in the night, can you feel that chill? Bigfoot on the run, he's a legend, keep it real. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride. Like I'm on a quest, searching for the homie, you know he's the best. Got my camera ready, heightened senses on blast. Snap a shot of Sasquatch, legend unsurpassed. Eyes in the dark, you can't catch what you can't see. King of the woods, living wild and free. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride.